Some big news, in fact, for Toronto Maple Leaf fans. John Tavares is coming home. Now, this afternoon, the NHL star tweeted that he has signed with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and he added a photo of himself as a boy sleeping in sheets with the Leafs logo. Tavares grew up in the Toronto area. He'll be paid $77 million US over 7 years. Well, with that, joining us now is radio play-by-play announcer Joe Bowen. He's known as the voice of the Toronto Maple Leafs. So, Joe, thank you for joining us today. Nice to have you on the program. I want to begin with just the significance of this. How big of a deal is this signing for the Toronto Maple Leafs?
Well, in honesty, it's a lot like, I suppose, being a fan of the Boston Red Sox or the New York Yankees, who are going to go out and, if not outspend teams when they can, although there is a salary cap in place in the National Hockey League, going to make every effort that they can to improve their team. And if that means getting the best player that is available at the free agent deadline, then they're going to make every effort to go ahead and get him. Were there other circumstances? I think you just heard about him sleeping with Toronto Maple Leaf sheets and pillowcases and pajamas. So John is coming home, and I think that his family and friends in this area probably had as much to do with his ultimate decision, because obviously financially he was going to be set no matter where he was, but also the fact that the Maple Leafs in this rebuild have shown that they are well ahead of schedule. So, and that in his arrival here, he's going to have an opportunity maybe to win a Stanley Cup in his hometown.
Well, let's talk about that, because, you know, the dollar figure is big. As you said, the franchise, the team, willing to spend the money to bring Tavares to Toronto. But what will John Tavares actually bring to the team itself?
Well, he's going to bring one of the premier centers in the National Hockey League, certainly in the top 3 or 4, maybe even higher than that, in the top 1 or 2. He's going to bring leadership. He's been a captain with the Islanders since he was 23 years of age. He is going to obviously bring a wealth of offensive talent. He is going to make a young Leaf team extraordinarily good offensively, and give them the opportunity now to maybe tinker with their lineup to try to improve it defensively, so that they are actually in the mix as far as the Stanley Cup playoffs are concerned for the next 7 years while his contract is here. They made enormous strides last year. They set a club record for points. They were again eliminated in the first round. And John Tavares hasn't had a lot of playoff experience with the Islanders. I think he's very much looking forward to a good run in the playoffs over a number of years here in Toronto.
Well, and which is the great prediction that a lot of people are making, that Tavares is going to be great for the club. But he's already 27 years old. Are expectations already too high for him, do you think?
Well, the expectations in Toronto don't get lower. I know that. Yeah, you know
that
what?
is true.
27 is the prime of anyone's career. You look at Joe Thornton, who's been playing at a high caliber into his 40s in San Jose. John Tavares is a very skilled, very smart player. I often chide him by saying that he's the second best John Tavares as far as an athlete is concerned, because his uncle John Tavares was a premier lacrosse player in the National Lacrosse League. So we're getting the second best Tavares, but I understand he's a pretty good hockey player, so I think it's going to work out.
We're going to work out, and very quickly, because we're running out of time here, I have to ask, Toronto Maple Leafs right now does not have a captain. Tavares leaves the Islanders as their captain. Does that mean to say that we're looking at the next captain of the Maple Leafs here?
Well, I think they're going to wait till some of the dust settles. I'm sure that maybe there was some discussion of that. I think a lot of people are looking at Austin Matthews as a leadership candidate as well. Regardless who has the C on, leadership is from within inside the room. And the guy with the C on, unfortunately, is the guy that has to stand up in front of us media types to discuss why they lost 2-1. But it doesn't have anything to do with reflecting what goes on in the room. I think there are a number of very good candidates to wear the C. They've gone a couple of years now without one. It will be interesting to see if, in fact, before the first game next year, whether they decide to put a C on someone who has carried it like John has, or maybe even Austin Matthews as a youngster who is coming along. But that decision will be made internally, and I think it will be made without any kind of haste. I don't think it's like Rob Ramage arriving on the scene a number of years ago, and he had the C on before he even arrived into the city.